Of unity in cabinet. You've talked about this. You've even been in the same room discussing with cabinet members what this lack of unity is doing to the business environment. Is it really putting businesses off investing, or do they just put it all to one side?
Well, I think it's part of a sequence of things that is worrying businesses. Obviously, there's uncertainty around the Brexit process. If there's uncertainty at the heart of government, that sort of doubles the worries that a lot of businesses tell us they have. So what they want is competence and coherence at the heart of government, and they worry that division could undermine that and could mean we don't have the right policies in place to get us through this Brexit transition.
And you've talked about something they also want, which is the transition period. And you say 3 years. The government, we keep hearing the message is about 2 years. That's the phrase that Theresa May used in Florence. Philip Hammond used it yesterday. I spoke to Liz Truss and she used it again. So about 2 years. They won't elaborate on whether that means it could be longer than 3 years because they say, well, we have to go into negotiation with the EU. Why do you say 3?
Well, our businesses have said to us in a survey, about 68%, that they would like 3 years or more for that transition period. So we're going on the basis of evidence from business communities around the UK. However, I appreciate the government's in a negotiation. The fact that a transition period, whether it's 2 years or a bit longer, is on the table at all is hugely important and a huge step forward from where we were just 6 months ago. And I think all of us in business appreciate the fact that we now have some sort of transition to manage our exit from the European Union.
I was listening to Philip Hammond, the Chancellor, speak yesterday, and he was talking about, instead of talking about the things that maybe the Cabinet is not united on, for example, Brexit, some aspects of it, he was instead talking at length about the need to go out and resell the advantages of free market economy. I found that quite fascinating that we're in this situation where the Conservative Party is going out and trying to resell the advantages of that model. How does that sit with the business community, that that's where we are in UK politics?
Well, I think we've been through a period of time over the past 10 years where the contract between business and society has been tested. It's been strained. And what we're seeing as a result of that in our politics today is the result of that strain. But it's not just for politicians, I don't think, to make the case for the free market. It's for all of us who are in business to make the case for the free market as well. I have what I call civic businesses up and down the UK. They're searching for profits day after day, but they're also great contributors to their local communities because they know the places where they live and work have to succeed for them to succeed as businesses. We have to demonstrate more as business communities that we are doing things the right way and not let a few bad apples actually rule the headlines.
Would wage increases from business enable a better sales pitch, if you like, for the free market economy and for globalisation in general?
Well, I'm in a privileged position in that most chamber member businesses around the country pay much higher than the going rate. So a lot of them say wage pressures actually aren't the biggest thing that they're facing. But there are obviously a lot of businesses and a lot of jobs where wages are lower. I think you've got to get productivity up in order to get wages up. So what we're trying to do is to say to the government, do whatever you can to incentivize business investment. That investment in turn drives productivity, and that productivity will drive those wage rises that we all want to see. Because the objective for all of us at the end of the day, whether in business or in politics, is a prosperous country, and that's the cycle that will drive it up, I think.
You are going to be having a sit-down conversation with Philip Hammond, the Chancellor, later. What's the missing ingredient? What are you trying to elicit from him that you didn't hear from him yesterday?
Well, I think we've heard enough from the Chancellor in recent weeks on Brexit and the certainty he's trying to give to businesses during that process, e.g. a transition period on the one hand, and making sure that the costs of adjustment actually come at the end of the transition rather than at the beginning of it or twice. So that part I'm happy with. What I need to hear more on is on the domestic economy. We could get the best possible Brexit deal in the world, but it won't make a big difference if we're not competitive, if we don't have the right policies in place here in the UK. So the Chancellor's got a budget in November. We want to make sure that we start to hear from him some of the big building blocks that he's going to put in place in that budget in order to make sure that the UK economy can fire on all cylinders. And
you called on him to be bolder than he was yesterday. It was short on detail, wasn't it? Short on any news yesterday.
I mean, I have to have a little bit of sympathy for the man. This was a party conference speech, not his budget speech itself. I don't think he could win on that particular front. We do want them to be bolder. We want them to incentivise investment. We want them to bring infrastructure projects forward. Some of them are planned in for 5-6 years hence. Why can't we do them before Brexit to give that investment and construction confidence? We can do more too on the upfront costs facing business. The UK is still a country where you pay a lot just to run a business, never mind what you pay in profit tax at the end. Businesses don't mind paying their corporation tax. They mind all these upfront taxes and costs that stop them taking risks.
Brexit is still a big topic of conversation. We're going to hear a lot from Boris Johnson, David Davis, Liam Fox, all speaking today. A free trade agreement for goods and services, that's what we're told to expect now. That's what the UK wants, at least. Are you any closer to knowing what that looks like?
Well, actually, the form of what we get from the Brexit negotiations matters less to my businesses than the practicalities. The questions I get asked are, who can I hire and for how long? Who do I pay VAT to? If I have goods, are they going to get stopped at a border for some sort of checks? Do I have to pay tariffs and duty? You know, these are the kinds of things where we need the answers. So there can be as much talk as the politicians want about the form of that deal, but what's needed are the specifics, and they need to get business in to talk about those specifics.
Adam, thank you. And I know you